Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the State Court of Clayton County. I'm Judge Tammy Long Hayward. This is courtroom 304. This is the jail and probation calendar. We also have an arraignment calendar, and then later on we'll have a 1 p.m. calendar. So please put your first and last name on the screen. It doesn't help us if it just says a nickname or iPhone, because several people have iPhones. So please put your first and last name on the screen, and that'll help us keep track of who's here. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with the arraignment calendar. So the first case on, so this is the October 29th, 2024 arraignment calendar. The first case on the calendar is Antonio Hugh Brown. Mr. Brown's here for a plea, is my understanding.
Mr. Brown, could you turn on your camera, please? I did speak to Mr. Brown. He was on the meeting.
I saw. Oh, okay.
Mr. Brown, please turn on your camera. Judge, well, I'm waiting for Mr. Brown to turn on the camera. This was put on this calendar pursuant to the state was evaluating whether they would offer a reckless plea. And they have declined to do that. I have spoken to Mr. Brown about the alternative offer, and at this point, he would like to go back on the trial calendar.
Okay, why we can't get these things straight before we calendaring people?
I understand that, Judge. This was not a request that I made, Judge.
Well, you did request a reckless, and like I told you, I had to speak to Official General Brooks. Right. So that's why it's back, because it was declined.
Okay. So all right. So it's not guilty.
Well, he's already pled not guilty, Judge. What I meant.
All right. That's fine. So Mr. Brown is going to be on the trial calendar. Bullock, Benjamin Sadat Bullock.
Mr. Bullock, could you please turn on your camera?
Benjamin Sadat Bullock.
Your Honor, Mr. Bullock's not in the courtroom. I left a message for him regarding today's calendar.
All right, bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Thank you, Judge.
Monty LaQuavius Hartage. Monty LaQuavius Hartage.
Judge, I believe he signed on. Forfeiture. Judge, he signed on as Anthony Moss, I believe.
Why would he do that?
Well,
he's not answering either way.
Mr.
Anthony
Moss, Mr. Hartage, I think it looks like he might be frozen.
I just feel like I need to turn the camera, the zoom off, and then come back on. Everybody get a reset. All right. Mr. Hartage, can you hear me? All right, somebody call him, see if we can wake him up. All right, he's got 2 cases. The next case is Sharon Irvin. Sharon Irvin. All right, you got to unmute, ma'am, and I got to be able to see you. You in the dark. Okay, you got to unmute.
Yes, ma'am. You can hear me.
I can hear you.
Hello, right. How you doing? Good morning.
Good. You're charged with speeding 35 plus miles an hour over the limit. Do you need an attorney to assist you, or are you representing yourself?
I can represent myself.
Are you over 21?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there a place where you can go where you can be seen?
There ain't no light in this room here. I can go. back. Can you see me much better now?
That's better. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
All right. So, you're before the court for speeding on case 2021 CR 06004. Ms. Hagler, what does the state recommend on this?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation, the defendant was going 101 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone. So the recommendation is 12 months probation, a fine of $500. The defendant is to complete the defensive driving course. And at this time, she is NOLO eligible.
All right. Ms. Irvin, so
Yes,
12
ma'am.
probation, a fine in the amount of $500, which will be $737.50. Once you add the surcharges, and then a driver improvement course through the Department of Driver Services. You can enter a NOLO plea,
All right.
and that may assist you with not getting a super speeder with the Department of Driver Services. A super speeder would require you to pay an additional $200 to keep your license from being suspended.
Okay. All righty. I'm trying to, it's been so many or whatnot. How can I, if I was to have proof of like my brother that drives my car, my aunt, and my cousin?
No, ma'am, because whoever
No.
pulled you over. It wasn't they
And
like
gave me a ticket for doing 101 and 65?
Yes. In 2021.
And I'm just, oh no. Wait, hold up. Yeah, I can believe that. No, that's true. 2021, yes. I'm admitting because nobody wasn't dropping that.
Okay, ma'am. Do you want to enter a NOLO plea? What you want to do?
Yes, we can do NOLO.
Okay, raise your right hand for me.
ma'am.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you're before the court on 2021 CR 06004, Jerome Irvin, speeding 35 plus miles an hour over the limit. You've chosen to represent yourself and you are over the age of 21. By entering this plea of NOLO, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. Give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, to present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about January 27th of 2021, while Officer Jay Carey was conducting traffic enforcement in the area of I-75 North and Old Dixie Road, Clayton County, Georgia, he observed the defendant traveling at a high rate of speed in the number 1 lane. Officer Carey used his LiDAR speed device and got an accurate speed of 101 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone. At that time, Officer Carey did conduct a traffic stop, and the defendant stated that she was speeding to her dad location due to him being involved in an accident. Your Honor, at this time, the state's offer is 12 months probation, a fine of $500. The defendant is to complete the defensive driving course, and she is NOLO eligible.
All right, so Ms. Irvin, I'm going to accept your plea of NOLO. You'll do 12 months probation, and I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Ms. James so she can get you signed up for probation and answer any questions that you might have. The quickest way to get rearrested is to not report for probation as required. You're also going to pay a fine in the amount of $500. That's $737.50. And you'll take a driver improvement course. Don't Google it. I want you to go to one place for the driver improvement course. You go to the Department of Driver Services for the state of Georgia. So the State Department of Driver Services, they have a pull down menu on their website where you can find driver improvement courses. Take one that is convenient to where you live or work. And once you have done that, once you have paid the fines and fees and taken the course and presented proof of having taken the course to your probation office,
Yes, ma'am.
then your probation can terminate. But you'll have that time to do those things. The quicker you do them, the quicker you'll be off probation.
Alrighty, so the driving course and the 700.
It's $737.50 with the surcharges.
Okay,
All right. And so
737.
yeah, I'm gonna put you in a breakout room with Miss James. Please ask her any questions that you need to ask her about probation. She's gonna get you signed up. If you have any difficulties completing whatever it is that I've asked you to do, talk to your probation officer because they're here to help you successfully complete probation, okay?
Alrighty, thank you so much.
All right, so I'm gonna put you in breakout room number 6. You'll see an invitation pop up in a moment. Once you have finished speaking with Miss James, you do not have to come back into the main room. Just go ahead and get started on what the court has ordered you to do, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. One moment.
Thank you so much.
All right, you should see the invitation pop up. All right. Let's see. All right, next is Nicholas Jordan Mayo. Mr. Mayo has 2 cases.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mayo is present. He's in the car there with his father. We do have a negotiated plea that we're ready to go for.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mayo, can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give is going to be the truth?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can put your hand down. So, Mr. Mayo, you're before the court on 2021 CR 05724 for 2 counts of battery. Count 1 is battery. I'm sorry, count 2 is battery. Count 4 is simple battery. You're represented by attorney Owen Lynch for the law firm of Lister, Holton, and Dennis, and Mr. Lynch is on this video call with you, okay? All right, and on the second case, Mr. Mayo, you're before the court on 2021 CR 08527 for criminal trespass. You're also represented by Mr. Lynch. Mr. Lynch, what does Mr. Mayo plead to the second case?
Judge, he's entering a plea of guilty today.
All right. So by entering a plea of guilty, did I ask you on the first case what he was pleading to?
It'll be guilty for both cases, Judge.
All right. So by entering a plea of guilty to count 2, is it count 2 he's entering a guilty plea to? And
Yeah, count 2 and I believe count 4 would merge.
Merge, right. By entering a plea of guilty to count 2 battery and count 4 will merge. And by entering a plea of guilty to criminal trespass, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, to subpoena witnesses, to present testimony and evidence on your behalf, and to not incriminate yourself or present testimony or evidence against you. Do you understand these things, Mr. Mayo?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So, Ms. Hagler, we can start with the case ending in 05724.
Yes, Your Honor. Pursuant to the probable cause affidavit in the packet, on or about April 21st of 2021, Officer Kenneth Lucas, Lucas, responded to 3801 Anvil Block Road, Ellenwood, Georgia, Clayton County, regarding a disturbance. The defendant did commit the offense of battery against the victim, Jerome Bryant, Jerome, Bryant, Bryant, by biting him on his left forearm, causing visible bodily harm to Mr. Bryant. Your Honor, for this case, for count 2, the state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 10 days, community time served, 60 hours of community service, and the defendant is to have no.
So, Ms. Hagler, it was a suspended sentence that we discussed. Remember, this individual's in the group home. So there were.
Let me go back. I don't see why I wrote that down anywhere, but nevertheless, that's fine. 12 months to serve, 10 days, community time served, violence suspended. The defendant is to have no violent or harassing, contact with the victim, again, Jerome Bryant. And count 2 is going to merge.
And on case ending in 08527.
Yes, as far as the factual basis for that one. On or about August 30th of 2021, pursuant to the probable cause affidavit completed by Officer C. Joseph, the defendant did commit the offense of criminal trespass when he kicked the door of the bedroom multiple times, which damaged it and caused multiple holes. The direct support professional, also the victim, Calamina, Calamina Peak, and the house coordinator, Miss Kyna, Kyna, V as in Victor A, Calicut, Calicutt, did advise that they wanted to press charges pursuant to the damaged door. Again, officers did respond to 3801 Anvil Block Road, Ellenwood, Clayton County, Georgia. For this offense, Your Honor, for this case, the state's offer is 12 months to serve, 8 days. Balance, 1 second, Your Honor. Balance suspended. The defendant is to have no further violations of the law, and the defendant is to stay away from the incident location and to have no contacts with the victims in this case.
All right, Mr. Lynch?
Yes, Your Honor. And so we had discussed these suspended sentences in Mr. Mayo's case. Mr. Mayo is currently with his father, but he does reside full-time in a group home, not the group home where these incidents took place. I think we also did discuss as a condition that he were to abide by the rules of the group home and comply with any medical treatment that he is currently undergoing. And I believe he is actively in treatment in therapy. We would ask that the court accept the suspended sentence and as recommended by the state with those conditions that I mentioned as well. And that's all we're asking at this time. He does have the support of his father who is with him, but he is currently living in a group home.
Okay, all right. So Mr. Mayo, I'm going to accept your pleas on case 2021 CR 05724, a plea of guilty to count 2. Count 4 will merge. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served, balance suspended, and no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia, and you're not to have no violent or harassing contact with Jerome Bryant. On the case 2021 CR 08527 for criminal trespass, 12 months to serve 8 days, commuted time served, balance will be suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia and you do not go back to that location or have contact with the 2 named victims in that case. All right, and Mr. Mayo, on both cases, you're to continue your medical care, your medical treatment, and to abide by the rules of the group home, okay? Thank you, sir. All right, anything else, Mr. Lynch?
Nothing at this time, Your Honor.
All right, And Mr. Mayo's father, thank you so much for your support of your son and helping us to get this worked out, okay?
Thank you.
All right, sir. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right, so we've completed Mayo, Irvin, Hardage.
Mr. Hardage?
Yeah.
That's Mr. Moss, but his camera's off.
I'm
Well, there's
on.
two. He's on two.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. All right, so it says Anthony Moss, but I have on my calendar Hardage.
Yes, my real name is Anthony Moss. And they keep booking me up on the hottest, but it's Anthony Moss.
Okay.
He's also charged as Hardage, I believe.
All right, 1 second.
Right. That's a good point. I'm gonna make an announcement. Call. Can you step up the home phone? Mr. Hardage, or Mr.
Yes.
Moss, so when we tried to call you previously, your phone went straight to voicemail. We're probably gonna need to call you in a moment to discuss how you're gonna go forward. Can you make sure you pick up your phone?
What number you got?
The same number that you called our office with?
I never called your office before.
Okay, 404-453-83.
No, it's 404-553-3515 is my number. 404-553-3515.
Okay. Can you mute your camera and we're gonna call you on that number?
Yes. I only got one unmuted, right?
Yeah, one of
Yeah.
them is unmuted.
All right, so Mr. Moss, you only actually need one presence on the camera. So if you want to take the other one down, that's fine. But it's my understanding, Mr. Lynch, you need a little bit of time to talk to Mr. Hardage.
I believe Mr. Taylor is gonna go out in the hall and call him right now.
Okay.
We probably anticipate entering,
Well, I mean, just let me know when y'all are ready. So Bullock never came into court. I don't see them on the video.
correct, Judge.
Okay, so bench warrant bond forfeiture will stand for that. We'll come back for our Hardage, and then I can go ahead and start at least calling the jail calendar to see if what's ready.
Judge, I do have one sort of announcement
For the jail calendar?
for the arraignment calendar. Well, really miscellaneous item here.
Sure.
Judge, I do have Mark Watts. That's case number 22 CR 01331, no licensed defective equipment. He was on the ARPA calendar for yesterday. He tried to log on late. I wasn't able to get him logged on before the court concluded.
Who is this again? I'm sorry, last name?
Watts, W-A-T-T-S. He has no licensed defective equipment. He's here in court wanting to go ahead and get that resolved today. And so I believe we're ready to enter a plea. I know that this state had since it's not on the calendar, they needed to go pull the file. I just wanted to
I have the file.
Okay.
I have it.
Okay.
Can you state the offer?
So yeah, so if he does not have a valid license today, the offer is a fine of $500. If his defective equipment is not complete today, then a fine of $50.
So he does have a valid license from my understanding. However, he doesn't have that license with him. But I know he wants to get it resolved. Is he NOLO eligible?
Why doesn't he have the license with him?
That's a good question, Judge. I believe I had.
How did he get to court?
I'm not sure how he got here, Judge. He may have gotten dropped off, or he's coming up. Come on.
Talk to him before he talks to me, Mr. Lynch, and figure this out, because why would you come to court for no license if you got a valid license and you don't bring the license? So talk to him offline. Don't include me in that.
Sure.
All right, and then we'll be back on that. Okay. All right, so for the jail calendar. First name on the jail calendar is a petition for Ademola John Adeoba III. John Adeoba III.
That was not a Lister and Holt case, and I think he's in custody.
Okay.
A private attorney, Judge, a private attorney.
Yeah, Mr. Stein, I don't see him here, but we'll bring Mr. Adeoba out and see if he wants to proceed with the hearing, or if he's requesting a formal hearing. Kathy Thomas Henry, can we get that done today? That's the one who requested the formal hearing. Do we have our witnesses and everything?
Who are you indicating? Mr. Kathy?
Thomas Kathy.
No, this one was.
Oh, this one was for the mental health eval. Okay, why is he back on the calendar?
So let me grab Mr. Taylor. I think Mr. Taylor knows more about it than me.
Because if we haven't gotten the mental health eval or gotten him to the point where he's going to be able to understand what's going on, we shouldn't keep putting him back on the calendar. We just need to monitor it so it doesn't go crazy, out of time. But who is this gentleman?
Ademola Adeoba.
All right, so sir, you have a petition that's you did not successfully complete your probation and that you've had some probation violations. Mr. Stein is not here to represent you. Do you have an attorney, or do you wish to have Lister Holton Dennis represent you?
Mr. Holton Dennis, I guess.
Okay, so Mr. Taylor or Mr. Lynch, Mr. Adeoba will be assigned to you all. Just send me an appointment order. Please, talk to him about his petition. All right, so sir, you can, they'll speak with you in a moment about your petition.
Could we request I'm not sure who his probation officer is, but if we could request the
Ms. Chang.
petition, if she hasn't already sent it.
Yeah, Ms. Chang, if you could send that to them, send it to both of them that way.
We have it.
You got it? Okay. And then Mr. Caffey can probably go back unless there's a different announcement from Mr. Taylor.
Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Caffey yesterday, and he was improved over his demeanor the last time we had a calendar.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's doing better. I asked him if he understood what was going on and why he was back in jail. He remembered me this time, which was an improvement over when he appeared in court last time from our previous appearance.
Yeah. But is it sufficient for him to go before the court today on the petition?
I believe so, but I haven't spoken to him this morning. And as you may know, Mr. Caffey, his issues his personality can vary based on how his medication is working on each day.
I got you. So if you're ready to go,
I would like to bring him out and just have him see if he understands what's going on. And if he doesn't, I'd like to just revisit it in a month after he's had more time. The jail is giving him medication. I believe it may be something different than what he had previously when he was outside. Okay. So
does he have family members that could bring the prescription? And they're probably not going to give him the shot. My understanding is that the jails probably don't give that.
To get an injection, right?
Yeah, if they get the injection, I don't know that the jail does that. I think they will do, I guess, what is the equivalent, oral medication. But I don't know that they do the injections.
Right.
That may be a new thing, but I don't, that hasn't been my experience.
And if I could just inquire from Ms. Hagler and Ms. Chang, what the recommendation is for the BOP and also for the new charge of public indecency. Is it something that would be resolved and allow him to leave the jail and go back with his caretaker? Or if they're looking at more jail time in general? In which case it wouldn't make sense to bring him out anyway.
Well, because 1 second, get that file pulled. Because it's supposed to be, scheduled for mental health. I don't have that file today. But let me have Mr. Arnold pull the file and I can give recommendation. So please stand by.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Jerome Delmar Cody. Jerome Cody, this is a criminal trespass.
It says Mr. Houghton Dennis.
Did we, Jerome Cody?
There, I believe the deputy's bringing them out now.
Oh, no, I'm not asking for them to be brought out. I'm just asking for an announcement because I know there's people you all have to talk to. So you don't have to bring them out as I call them. I'm just trying to get an announcement.
Oh, certainly, Your Honor. I spoke with Mr. Cody and we will be entering a no-low plea today.
Okay.
And it's non-negotiated.
All right. And all right, next is Demetrius Tyrone Greer. That looks like a petition.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, have you all had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Greer because Mr. Creel's not here?
We have not spoken with Mr. Greer. I have spoken with Mr. Austin, and I believe the recommendation is for time served and
Return back to probation.
Back to probation. So I believe Mr. Greer will be amenable to that, but we will relay that message. And Mr. Austin spoke to him. Is that correct, Mr. Austin?
I didn't get to speak. He wasn't up at the time when I came in.
Your Honor, we'll speak to him and let him know that recommendation.
All right. Jackson, Demetrius Rashad Jackson.
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with Mr. Jackson yesterday. We intend to enter a no-low plea, and that will be non-negotiated also.
Okay. Blake Joseph Living.
Well, he's not an inmate, Your Honor, so he might be out to bond.
I have him as active inmate, but did he is he OTB? Y'all verify. Because these are small charges like no tag and no license for 30 days after moving to the jurisdiction. So you may have bonded out.
Your Honor, he is OTB.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Arnold.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Arnold.
I just like to make sure he ain't sitting down there somewhere. They once brought up a guy. It was the right name, but it was the wrong guy. They had the same name. Stephen L. Miller.
Your Honor, I attempted to reach or speak to Mr. Miller yesterday. He was in medical and he wasn't brought out. I don't know if he's been brought up this morning. So he's not still medical. I'd ask for an opportunity to speak with him.
Okay. Kenneth Pack.
Yes, Your Honor. That will be a no-low plea and non-negotiated as well.
All right. Tracy Latrice Steele. OTB?
She might be out to bond, Your Honor. I'm not showing that she's active.
Okay. All right, OTB. And last but not least, Tillery, Latasha Tillery.
Judge, I do have Miss Tillery. We're gonna enter a plea today. And I'm not sure if you called Miss Crawford, but she's also ready for a negotiated plea.
Did I call Crawford? Did I miss Crawford?
If you did call her, I didn't hear it, Judge.
I
No,
didn't hear
you're right. I
Crawford
missed
yet.
it. I missed Miss Crawford. Okay, and Miss Crawford is ready.
Crawford's ready for a plea as well.
All right, I'm sorry. Okay.
And Your Honor, a brief announcement. I spoke with Mr. Moss, and we wanted to get a recommendation from Ms. Haler on both cases, a sentence recommendation. And based on that, we'll determine our plea today.
Okay, so y'all just waiting for her recommendation?
That's correct.
All right, and what is the correct name? Is it Hardage or Moss?
Moss, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all a few minutes to speak with some of the appointments for, I guess, Greer. Well, no, Greer's already been spoken to. Figure out if Kathy is gonna be able to come out, Adioba, and I guess Miller.
Yes.
Okay, and on Crawford, do we have an announcement for Crawford?
Crawford is a negotiated plea, and she's ready to do that whenever the court is ready.
And then Tillery.
That's also going to be a plea today, Judge.
Okay, so y'all are pretty much there. So just speak to Adioba, Miller, and then we'll be right back.
You know, and I do have an announcement on Kathy. I just looked at the calendar again, that for the case that we did have is closed as of 8/27, so there is no recommendation to give Attorney Taylor.
For the second case.
I'm not sure. A second.
Yeah, I thought Mr. Caffey initially had 2 cases.
That's correct, Your Honor. Violation of probation is CR 06470, criminal trespass, theft by shoplifting. That was the case.
Which is closed on 8/27 by our office.
I know those are closed for the petition, but I think Mr. Taylor thought he had an open case that came up since these 2 cases.
Your Honor,
Not that we're tracking. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Arnold.
Yes, he does. He has the public indecency. I'm going to bring you that.
Yeah, that
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so the 2 that are closed are on the petition, and then I think the public indecency was the one he was making.
Which was
okay.
Just for the VOP.
And I can, since you have your own, since you're logged on, Attorney Taylor, I can send you directly the recommendation. You logged on your computer. I sent it to you directly.
For
Kathy.
For Kathy.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that. Thank you.
So I'll be right back. I'm gonna let y'all work for a few minutes, and then we'll be back, and then we should be able to run through everything, guys. I think it's only like 3 or 4 that y'all need to confirm.
Thank you, Judge. Attorney Taylor, you said that you do not have the rec for Moss/Hartage.
Mr. Moss is present, and he would like for an announcement so he could hear those. I don't have them immediately in front of me. And since we were having some difficulty with making sure.
I have the, okay, so I can give it to you. You want me to give it to you verbally for both these cases, or just put it in the chat?
Verbally, just announce it to Mr. Moss so he can hear it.
So for case, the given false name, if he is saying on the record that his name is Anthony Moss, then the state has no problems not processing that case, 05996.
Okay.
Regarding the other case, does he have a valid license and a valid hands-free device that he can show today or provide?
Well, I could show you where I just paid $1,000 to get everything fixed. So like I had a bunch of tickets and everything is I paid a ticket fix attorney from Miami, and then they fixing all my records. So my license will be, and that court date is set for November 1st. I could actually show you my phone, and then everything will be done after that. Like my license, I have it back. That's what was stopping me from actually obtaining the license.
So Ms. Hagler, let us do this today.
Yeah, speak to him, and then get back with me.
I anticipate a not guilty, just to move the case forward. And then once he has the documentation showing his license has been reinstated, I'll provide that to you, and then we can discuss how to proceed forward on that second case, if that's okay with you.
That's fine, and a hands-free device too. That's what he has on the other case.
Well,
Distracted driving.
doesn't have it present with him this morning. He will
Yeah.
have it once he has his license to show you both.
So once I have my
Okay.
license, y'all will get rid of that case too.
Well, I will confirm that it's valid once I get a copy of the front and back.
And
Okay.
Mr.
And then
Moss,
what
I have-
about
I have your
what about the
telephone number.
what I just paid? You want that too?
I will talk to you about that
Yes.
since just let me talk to you that after court.
Okay, you gonna call me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then for Kathy, the public indecency.
Keep in mind, he does have some mental health issues, and he's been in custody since I want to say October 8th.
Okay, let me confirm that and I'll send you a message in the chat
Okay.
for him. Let me confirm that. Thank you.
Thank you. How you doing? Wow, you just.
What are you doing? I'm at court. What are you doing? Talking to the people about my license. Yeah, they just put me on. They got to go back and pull me. Like the judge gave us a couple minutes to talk about it. But if they know Prost, the first one with the giving the false name, my sugar better go get my money back, ain't it? Oh, I bought it out.
Mr. Moss. Mr.
Yeah.
Moss, please mute your phone.
Oh.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I have an announcement.
Y'all ready?
Judge, I believe we're ready on several matters. I know we're still waiting on inmate Greer to come up. They haven't located him. I did speak to the probationer, Mr. Adebayo, or I probably pronounced that horribly, but he's ready to stipulate and accept. And I have someone here who wanted to say hi to you.
Hey, Judge.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm
You
back.
miss us?
Yes.
Okay, well, don't miss the team celebration later on But yeah, make sure we have your information.
I will do that. I just wanted to say hello. I wanted to wait until you came back. So.
Well, good to see you. I know you miss us.
A lot. A lot.
Well, I hope you're having fun with this. You know, we saw Mr. White a little while ago. So he's had all the changes. Married and moved on away from us.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we've had court together, and it was just like old times. I was like, Justin, do you have the calendar? Because I don't know where mine is.
Well, good.
Yeah. So, but Your Honor, I will probably come back and see you at some point in the future. But I just wanted to say hello.
All right. Well, like I said, don't miss our team celebration. We'll give you the information.
I will. All right. See you later.
All right. Take care.
And additionally, Judge, Mr. Watts, who was a walk-in, is ready to enter a plea to the state's recommendation.
Okay, well, I'm ready for whomever. Let's take Mr. Watts first, I guess, so we can finish up this. We can work on getting this arraignment calendar done.
Good morning. How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm good, Mr. Watts. How are you?
I'm doing good.
All right, so Mr. Watts, you're before the court on 2022 CR 01331. What's Mr. Watts, what's your first name?
Marquise.
All right, Marquise. Mr. Watts, you're before the court for no license and defective equipment. Mr. Lynch from the law firm of Lister Holt & Dennis is representing you. Mr. Lynch, what does your client wish to plead to the offenses before the court?
Judge, we'd ask for the court to take a no-low plea on the no license case and a guilty plea on the defective equipment.
All right, raise your right hand for me, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. This recommendation, please. I'm sorry, factual basis and recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor. Pursuant to the probable cause affidavit on or about September the 8th of 2021, Officer R. Santos conducted a traffic stop at Terra Boulevard and Battle Creek Road, Jonesboro, Clayton County, Georgia, after observing the defendant having a defective equipment, specifically a headlight, while the defendant was in physical control of his 2010 Chevy Cobalt. Upon making contact with the defendant and checking his name and date of birth through GCIC, Officer Santos learned that the defendant's license was expired as of January 11th of 2021. Your Honor, for count one, the state's offer is a fine of $500. For count two, a fine of $50.
All right, so Mr. Lynch.
Nothing at this time, Your Honor. We just ask the court accept the plea as negotiated.
How much time does your client need to pay the fines and fees? The $500 fine is going to be $737.50. The $50 fine is going to be $83.25 with the surcharges.
60 days, if Your Honor could give us that much time.
All right. So Mr. Watt, please remember, sir, that you have to pay the fines and fees within the 60 days or an arrest warrant might issue. I'm going to accept your plea of no low to count one, guilty to count two. I'll sentence you on count one to pay a fine in the amount of $500, $737.50 with the surcharges. That's the total. And then on count two, defective equipment, $500 fine is $83.50 with the surcharges. And you'll have 60 days in which to pay those, okay? What I'm going to ask you to do now is when you leave the courtroom, go down to the second floor, right below us. When you come back through the double doors into the hallway, go to your left. You'll see the traffic court window. They're going to give you your paperwork. It's going to tell you the exact day that your fines and fees are due. And you can pay in part, like if you want to pay part of it at one time, but it all has to be paid by the 60th day, okay? If you want to make a payment today, you can, but don't leave the courthouse without getting your paperwork, all right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Watts, thank you so much.
Can I just ask, I think a bench warrant was requested for him on Friday. I doubt it was.
Yeah, bench warrant set aside, please. If it hasn't been, I haven't signed a bench warrant for Friday, so we'll just remember that Mr. Watts doesn't have one.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right, you ready on Moss?
Moss.
Anthony Moss. I mean, oh, I'm sorry, that's Mr. Taylor. Mr. Hartage.
Yeah.
And Mr. Taylor, As opposed to putting your client on a jury trial calendar, I know he said that he should have everything by November 1st. Let's just do a 2-week reset, and then he should have everything by then. Since he did mention November 1st, so.
Yeah,
If that's acceptable,
November 1st,
Mr.
when they
Moss,
go.
hold on. Your Honor, the defense is agreeable to that if the court is.
Who are we talking about?
We're talking about Mr. Moss
Mhm.
and the cases accused under Mr. Hartage. So you may want to modify that to correct it on the accusation so that, but after speaking with Mr. Moss and Ms. Hagler, Mr. Moss should have proof of having his license reinstated within 2 weeks, Mr. Moss. And when we prove that and prove a proof of a hands-free device, we think this will go forward, will be resolved without any further action.
Ms. Val, we have a calendar 2 weeks away. Just let me know.
And will it be acceptable to appear by two things? Acceptable to appear by video to give you, after I've provided that information to you, Ms. Hagler. And Your Honor, Mr. Moss, under the name Hartage, has active bench warrant. We'd ask to recall that based on his appearance here today.
All right, bench warrant set aside for Hartage, AKA Anthony Moss. And then we'll reset him for 2 weeks. Hold on a second. All right, so Ms. Powell, if you could make a note to remind me to tell Ms. Val that this is a reset for 2 weeks, because I don't see her on. She might be attending to something else, and I don't want to miss that. Oh, there she is.
Yes, ma'am. It looks like we have a date for November 12th, and I'll let Ms. Val know.
All right, Ms. Val, so we're going to put Hartage from the Hartage, AKA Moss, from the arraignment calendar. We're going to reset that for 2 weeks to the 12th, November 12th, unless there's some reason we can't.
You can, it's fine.
Okay, all right. So November 12th, Mr. Moss, you'll be back here just like you are now on video, okay?
Okay, and what about the second case?
That's for both cases, and we'll
Both
get them
cases.
both resolved. I spoke with Attorney Hagler, and she is agreeing, since you put on the record your correct name to the court today, she's going to be null processing that, which means dismissing that false info charge, okay?
Okay.
And I will call you after court either later today or tomorrow.
All right. Appreciate everybody.
All right.
Have a good day. Thank you.
All right.
All right. So the that concludes the arraignment calendar. We're moving on to the jail calendar. The first case on the jail calendar is a petition, Mr. Adioba.
Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Adioba, and I believe he's accepting the recommendation from Ms. Chang, which I believe is time served and to close the case because probation, the sentence ends in approximately 9 days.
7 days. Yeah.
7 days. Oh.
All right. So bring him out.
He's coming out now, Your Honor. Ms. Chang, since his sentence ends in such a period of time, short period of time, is he required to report any further after today?
No, his case, we're recommending that his case be closed.
Okay.
On time served.
All right. So Mr. Adioba.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Ademola John Adioba III. Raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. So, sir, you're before the court on 2022 CR 01503. You were before this court on the 7th day of November of 2023 for DUI less safe. You were sentenced to 12 months on probation. You have 7 days remaining, and It's alleged that you violated the probation terms by testing positive for alcohol on October 4th of 2024. What's the recommendation from the state?
Your Honor, probation recommends that 7 days be revoked, which is the time remaining, and close the case.
All right. Mr. Taylor?
Your Honor, does that, I'm sorry, by revoked, is she saying she wishes Mr. Adioba to serve an additional 7 days?
No, what is he already served?
Oh,
Already served 7 days.
yes.
He's been in jail, Your Honor, since October 23rd.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just to time served and to close the case, correct?
Right.
That's correct.
Nothing further from the defense, Your Honor. That's we ask the court to accept the recommended sentence.
One second. All right, so Mr. Adioba, sir, you were before this court for driving under the influence, and this appears to be your first hearing. But sir, if you got caught drinking this time, that means you probably had alcohol a couple of more times during your probation. I mean, it just is a thing. But what I want to remind you of is you have already been before the court for alcohol and driving. Consider that you might have an issue with alcohol because you took a drink knowing that you had the possibility of being tested and knowing that you could come before a judge and go to jail because you took a drink. So if you don't even think about, I could go to jail if I take this drink, maybe I shouldn't drink, then that means you might have an issue with alcohol.
Oh, ma'am, I think I just got a little too comfortable. I was to the end of the situation.
Well, okay. Everybody says that. I don't know what it is about alcohol and people not wanting to think they have a problem with alcohol, because everybody will tell me, oh no, you know, I don't have a problem with alcohol, but I just will point out to you, shoot, technology, I hate when it does that, but I will point out to you that, sir, you are here before me probably for the third or fourth time, you know, prior to sentencing and all that, because of alcohol and driving. And then now you're here before me because of alcohol, because you were on probation. So what I just want people to think about is, if alcohol ends you up repeatedly before a judge, if alcohol ends you up missing time from your family and for work, if alcohol ends you up having to pay lots of money that you didn't anticipate having to pay, then maybe it's causing you a problem.
Okay. And I want to also tell you, since this happened, I'm a driver for UPS, and I'm also on probation.
It's okay.
Well,
I'm also on probation through them, and I'm on random alcohol tests to keep my job also.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you is, just like we caught you randomly, they could catch you randomly. And UPS is a good job. Yeah. You'd be better off starting to go to some AA meetings and then talking about how you control alcohol with some people who are going through the same thing. Okay?
Okay.
Those are some people who are not going to judge you. They got meetings all the time. It's free. What I'm saying to you is that might help you in all aspects. One, to not show up back before a judge. And two, you don't want to give up a good job.
I sure don't.
And it sounds like you've been there a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
So consider that. Don't be so hard-headed in the, you know, like so stuck on, I'm not this, that you can't consider that maybe if you took advantage of some of the things that I'm talking about, you might be able to have a better life, and B, keep your good job.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay?
I hear you. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'm gonna revoke 7 days, give you credit for time served. Your probation will be, your case will be closed and you'll be released in standard. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Chang.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Attorney Taylor, I sent you the recommendation for Kathy. I sent it to your personal and then to the 304. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. It was just, I had to retype this. Sometimes you can get it all in and all of a sudden it all disappears.
Your Honor, can we go past Mr. Caffey and address him later? I need to give him.
Yes, that's fine.
But Mr. Cody is ready to proceed.
I'm ready.
We're bringing him out now.
This is non-negotiated, correct, Mr. Taylor? For Cody?
Well, we discussed, and if you'll accept a no-low plea.
I will not.
Criminal trespass.
So it's, yeah, but.
Is that going to be your position going forward on all criminal trespasses?
Especially if they've been given a warning with the case number, yes. I will not be accepting no lows.
Your Honor, it's not negotiated.
Non-negotiated, okay.
All right, what we got?
Your Honor, my client pleads injury to the single charge of criminal trespass.
Raise your right hand for me, Mr. Cody.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Your Honor. Mr. Cody is pleading guilty to this charge. And are you accepting the 30 hours, excuse me, $300 fine, 40 hours of community service and 12 months probation?
Yeah, that's what I see.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Cody, raise your right hand for me.
Yes, ma'am.
You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. So, Mr. Cody, you're before the court on 2024 CR 08361 Jerome Delmar Cody for criminal trespass. You're with your attorney, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Taylor, you've indicated that Mr. Cody is entering a guilty plea to the criminal trespass.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. By entering this plea of guilty, Mr. Cody, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, Mr. Cody?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Factual basis recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about September the 15th of 2024, Officer N. Nathaniel Parker, along with Officer E. Rab, was dispatched to the second floor atrium of 6234 Spine Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30337, Clayton County, regarding the defendant causing a disturbance. Upon arrival in the area, they observed a pushed over airport wheelchair in the front of the lost and found, and the trash can thrown all over the ground in front of the elevator. The defendant was then found in the USO acting erratically and causing the passengers to fear for their safety. The defendant at that time was engaged and detained and escorted to the precinct. for criminal trespass. Once at the precinct, it was determined the defendant did have a prior criminal trespass warning that was issued to him on March the 17th of 2024 under case number 240778013. At that time, the defendant was arrested and detained. Your Honor, the state's offer is 12 months probation, a fine of $300, 40 hours of community service, and the defendant is to not return and to stay away from the incident location unless he's there for official business.
All right, does he have the means to pay the fine?
I mean, I give out this, I get a check every month.
Your Honor, he received Social Security disability income. However, that has been
Stopped because
terminated
he's in
or
jail.
stopped because he's in custody, so it'll take a while for him to get that reestablished. We'd ask.
How long has he been in jail?
I've been in jail 45 days, man. I really want to get time served, you know what I'm saying? But they trying to make me do probation on it. So, you know what I mean? I really just want to get
Your
time
Honor,
served.
he's been in custody since September 15th.
Ms. Hagler, I really am on this thing of not burdening probation because I don't know that he's gonna be able to do this, and he's just gonna end up right back here for a probation violation. At least the $300 fine, and I don't know that Mr. Cody, do you have housing?
Yes, I stay in Lakeview right now, but like I said, I get my check every month disability. But I can't pay when I get my check this week. First this week.
Do you have do you stay with a family member or you in a group home? Where do you stay, sir?
I stay right now. I'm staying in the PAD program. I'm in the PAD program.
The PAD program?
It's called PAD program. I got a room in the house, but I do get my check every month. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm gonna just give him a suspended the balance suspended. Don't go back to the airport. Do not go back to Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport without a ticket to travel on that day, and they will check. So don't go back to the airport. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
They're making it harder to go back, Mr. Cody, because they're shutting down the MARTA station. They're checking everybody coming in. So please be mindful that you don't go there and just to get arrested again. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So they do have a program. I think City of Atlanta has some programs that are available. But before you leave the jail, if you need any help, ask to speak to a chaplain and tell them that you need some help with anything that you need some help with. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'm gonna 12 months balance suspended as long as you do not go back to Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Credit for time served. What part of New York you from?
I'm really from Akron, Ohio, Sumner County, but I kind of sound like I'm from New York.
You do kind of sound like you're from New York.
I probably got people that I don't even know about, you know what I mean? So.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Cody, go ahead and get back in your program. All right.
Yes, ma'am. So I get tired, so I go home today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Mr. Cody.
Just
stay out of the airport for me. All right.
Say no more. I got you, man. Thank you a lot.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Excuse me, Judge.
Yes.
Is that the 45 days credit for time served or just the 12 months credit for time served?
45 days. I'll give him the 45 days credit for time served.
Thank you.
And who we have next?
Your Honor, Mr. Greer is ready for Attorney Lynch.
Okay, I'm ready. That's a petition.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge, we get Mr. Greer out. Mr. Greer is going to stipulate to the violation alleged in the petition, and he is going to ask the court to accept the recommendation from Mr. Austin, which I have explained to him. Which, if I understand, Mr. Austin, is going to be, I think it was credit for time served, return to probation, test on every date, and continue the AA meeting the AA meetings that he's already.
That's correct.
We have Mr. Greer here.
Okay, 1 minute. Oh, 1 second.
Also, I think Mr. Antonio Brown is still logged on under iPhone. Mr. Brown, you have been excused.
All right, Mr. Greer,
Yes, ma'am.
raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
your honor.
Okay, you can put your hand down. All right, so Mr. Greer, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Demetrius Tyrone Greer, 2021 CR 08237. You were before this court for DUI less safe on the 10th day of January 2024. You have 2 months and 11 days remaining on probation. The probation has indicated that you tested positive for alcohol on September 26th of 2024. And your attorney and you have stipulated to the probation violation. And Mr. Austin, what's the recommendation?
Your honor, credit from time served since October 21st. Return back to probation under original conditions, to be drug screened every report going forward, and to continue attending AA meetings.
All right, Mr. Greer,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
was going on that you risked coming to jail because you had to have that drink?
Oh, my significant other, she had a 40th birthday party, and I just slipped up.
So you said, girl, I'm gonna celebrate you. I don't mind going to jail.
No,
It's your fault.
that's not what it was. It was just I got caught up in the moment.
Judge, we do a lot for our significant others.
I mean,
Sometimes
because right now, you in the jail for yours, Mr. Greer.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
You know better.
Yes, ma'am.
That is not a sufficient excuse. You can celebrate without alcohol. We have to learn in this country to celebrate without those things that cause us harm.
Correct.
All right, so I have defendant shall receive credit for time served, return to probation, test at each report, and continue AA or NA meetings as ordered. Is that correct?
That is correct, your honor.
All right, just let me sign it and I'll send it over. Mr. Greer, you know what's at stake, sir. You have to get in the mindset that you don't always need alcohol to celebrate.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Okay. All right, the petition's coming over.
Thank
All right,
Your
you can
Honor.
go back with the sheriff's office, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Who's next?
Judge, I know I'm ready on Ms. Crawford.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I got that impression. Which one's your appointment? 145. I'm good, Judge. So we're good. You're gonna just face the camera right here, and even if the screen goes off.
Ms. Crawford,
Yes, ma'am.
raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on state of Georgia. I'm sorry. All right, state of Georgia versus Brittany Nicole Crawford, 2024 CR 08388 for giving a false name, address, or date of birth and loitering or prowling. You've been before me, Miss Crawford, before. I'm pretty sure because the way you spell your name,
I believe, yeah, you look familiar.
I figured that. All right. What does your client plead to the offenses before the court, Mr. Lynch?
Judge, we ask the court to take no contest, please.
All right, for both?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So by entering nolo pleas to counts 1 and 2, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am?
I do.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about October the 4th of 2024 at approximately 22:37 hours, Officer H. Moss, M-O-S-S, approached the defendant at 1000 Theater Road, Forest Park, Georgia, Clayton County. Officer Moss approached the defendant because she was at the park with her friends drinking under the gazebo. The defendant was at the park after the park was closed. Officer Moss has advised the defendant before to not be at the park after 22:30 hours, as there are signs around the park advising people that the park closes at 22:30 hours. The defendant became boisterous, begging officers to not take her to jail, advising officers that she was just passing through. There were multiple vodka bottles around the gazebo on the ground from where she and her friends were drinking. At that time, Officer Moss asked her for her information so he could complete an arrest booking sheet and citation for her. The defendant advised that her name was Joyce Crawford and her date of birth, June 18th of 1987, but her real name is actually Brittany N. Crawford with a date of birth of 9/27/1992. At that time, the defendant was arrested. Your Honor, for count 1, the state's recommendation is a fine of $300, and for count 2, a fine of scratch that. The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 10 days, balance suspended, and the defendant is to stay away from the incident location, which is 1000 Theater, Theater Road, Forest Park, Georgia, 30297.
Okay, count 2.
Will be the same, 12 months to serve, 10 days, balance suspended, and again, a stay away.
All righty, Mr. Lynch.
Your Honor, we would ask the state to accept that recommendation. The court to accept the state's recommendation. Unfortunately, my client will probably be in the Clayton County Jail for a little bit longer. She has to resolve another matter. But I have explained to her the stay away condition, and we would just ask the court to accept that.
Ms. Crawford, how old are you?
I just turned 32.
Do you have children?
I'm actually 6 months pregnant now, so that drinking is not, it wasn't with me. People was drinking, but I'm 6 months pregnant.
Ms. Crawford, so we've already established that we know each other. We've seen each other before.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Lynch has indicated, and I don't want to know any more than that, but you got some other stuff going on. Let me ask you something. What kind of life are you bringing this baby into? Have you thought about, don't talk yet, because you're going to give me what you think I want to hear. What I want to know is are you really thinking about the fact that you're bringing a life into this world? Life didn't ask to be here, but it's going to be a child. And when that child gets here, they deserve the best that they can possibly get. But you bringing them into chaos and foolishness. Have you considered the changes you need to make for in the next, because you only got like 3 months left, in the next 3 months to prepare for a baby, an infant who needs shelter, security, warmth, medical care, constant attention, selflessness, meaning that baby's priorities come before yours. If you don't sleep, it doesn't matter. If you don't eat, it doesn't matter. The baby's got to have all that. Have you thought about what you're going to do to make sure that this child doesn't suffer and like has a good life? You got a plan?
It's in the process because I'm actually having twins. So it's
you have a what?
I'm having twins. So it's more than just.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And this is my first baby. So.
Prophet, do you have a house? Do you have housing?
I was staying with my mom right now, but I was like, because my other matter is a VOP. So I'm trying to.
Let me ask you this. So I don't know who helped you create this baby. I know somebody did, but is that person going to be reliable and helpful? Then be honest.
Right now, I can't say yes because he's locked up too.
Okay, so that's a no. So what I'm saying to you is you really are creating babies for your mama to take care of. Is your mama able? No. Don't shake your head because you don't know what's going to go on with that VOP. And if you have a baby while you're in the Clayton County Jail or in the prison system, they're going to take that baby as soon as it comes and give it to whatever relative you designated or defects. Because when I was in magistrate court, I have had to go to the hospital with a woman who has gone to the hospital to have a baby. And I've had to give her a first appearance hearing standing at the foot of her bed in a robe while she is shackled to the bed. And she gave birth shackled to a bed. So what I'm saying to you is I need you to take whatever time you're going to be in this jail to think out a plan for what you need to do. Hang it, even 3 months pregnant, hanging in the park, vodka drinking with your friends when you got a short amount of time to prepare for 2 babies coming into this world. Them same vodka drinking friends ain't going to be here to babysit. If they were, I wouldn't trust them. They're not going to buy Pampers. They're not going to be here to make sure these babies are fed, that you get a break when it's time for you to sleep. All that's going to be on your mom. And so what I'm asking you is start thinking about growing up. Because at 32 years old, grown people drink in their homes. They have a cocktail or two, and then everybody goes home. Or they go home, they go to sleep in their own house. Grown people aren't sitting in the park drinking and getting chased out of the park by police officers. And when you're producing twins, you have now made 2 babies with somebody who is not going to be there to help you. Not financially, not emotionally, and not in any way. When those babies are sick and you got to walk the floor with them, because that's what happens. They get stuffy, congested, and the only thing that will work is putting them on your shoulder and walking the floor. Is that person going to be there to help you? No. So what I'm telling you is it's all on you. And if you don't do it right, it's all going to be on your mom if she decides to step in and help you. Because most grandmothers, they don't want these kids they stuck with. Not that they don't love them, they don't want them. If they wanted more kids, they could have had them. So what you're doing is bringing children into your mama's life that she wasn't bargaining for. She needs to be working and going on cruises and doing stuff for herself. But you're making her life about service to you and your children. So what I want you to remember is after these babies come, get yourself straight. Don't have no more babies bringing babies into this world until you straight and can take care of them. Condoms are cheaper than child support or child care. You can have sex if you want to. I don't care. That's not up to me. You grown. But don't bring babies into this world that you can't take care of. You got me?
Yes, ma'am.
So I need you to take whatever time it takes for you to clear up whatever else you got going on. You need to come up with a plan. You need to come up with a plan for how you're going to take care of these kids, how you're going to make sure they have health care, how you're going to make sure that they have stability, how you're going to make sure they have housing, all of those things. And if your mama is so kind as to let you live with her, don't abuse her. Those are your babies, not hers. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to accept your plea of no load accounts 1 and 2, and the hanging out in the park. Don't do that no more. That's not healthy for you or your child. You should be taking your prenatal vitamins and getting good rest. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
That's no longer an activity that you need to be doing. So counts 1 and 2, NOLO, 12 months to serve 10 days, balance suspended. Do not go back to the park at 1000 Theater Road, Forest Park, Georgia, Clayton County. Count 2 is 12 months, 10 days, balance suspended to run concurrent with count 1. All right, Ms. Crawford, don't mess up because you made these babies. They didn't ask to be here. So if they come here to a miserable life, that's your fault.
I understand.
All right, and don't be making babies with people who ain't gonna be there to help you. You irresponsible, he irresponsible, you in jail, he in jail. What kind of life is that?
Not a life I was trying to bring them into, so.
All right. I hope I don't see you again, Miss Crawford, because I hope you getting it together. But you know, if you mess up, I will see you again.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, take care. Go back with the sheriff.
You're welcome.
All right, who's next?
Judge, I have Ms. Tillery.
That's fine.
It's gonna be a non-negotiated, just
Okay.
a minor difference of the recommendation.
And you said non-negotiated, right, for Tillery?
Yes, yes, that's on.
Raise your right hand for me, Ms. Tillery. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on 2024 CR 08420 for Latasha Tillery. You're before the court on 2 counts of giving a false name, address, or date of birth, and 1 count of drug objects. What is your client plead to the offenses before the court, Mr. Lynch?
No low contender, Your Honor.
To all 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, by entering a plea of no load counts 1, 2, and 3, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or a no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please, Ms. Hagler.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about October 9th of 2024, pursuant to the probable cause affidavit completed by Officer J. Owens at 6125 Old Dixie Road, Forest Park, Clayton County, Georgia. Officer Owens was patrolling that area when he observed the BP gas station clerk yelling at the defendant. Officer Owens has already seen the clerk tell her to leave the store in the past before. Upon requesting her name to verify if she was previously given a criminal trespass warning, the defendant provided the name of Quemecca, Qumecca Tillery, with a date of birth of July 26, 1990. She then advised that her birthday was July 26th of 1996. After requesting her real name, she advised that she advised Kumeka Tillery with the date of birth of May 26th of 1993. After being placed in handcuffs due to providing multiple false forms and information, she finally provided Latasha Tillery date of birth May 26, 1983, and advised that she kept providing a false information because she knew she had a warrant. And upon GCI check, it did return that she did have a warrant for probation violation on assault. A search for a person led to the discovery of a meth pipe. Again, the incident did occur in Clayton County, Georgia. Your Honor, at this time, the state's recommendation for count 1 is a fine of $200, count 2 a fine of $200, and count 3 a fine of $200.
All right, Mr. Lynch.
Yes, Your Honor, the only difference in our recommendation is just that we would ask the court give her credit for the time that she's already served. I believe she's been in custody since October, or approximately the 5th or the 10th. She is going to be held until, I believe, December, where she has a court date for her VOP. So I'll just ask that the sentence be 12 months served, 20 days, balance suspended.
1 second. All right, Ms. Tillery, how old are you?
41.
Okay, Ms. Tillery, I get that drugs are having an impact on your life. What's your plan, ma'am?
To move back home with my mom to help her because she's older now.
First of all, if you move back home, you're just gonna be a problem to your mom. I'm gonna just tell you right now. You might think you're helping her, but really you just gonna bring drugs and foolishness into her life because you're not clean. Who's Kwemeka?
That's the youngest sibling of mine.
Oh, so you're okay with getting your sister in trouble for your charges. It's okay to have your sister have charges against them because you deciding that you're gonna put that on. See, that's why I'm saying this whole flip answer you just gave me. Oh, I'm gonna go be selfless and take care of my mama. A, you're not gonna do anything but cause your mama problems. B, you're gonna get into it with your siblings because they already mad at you because Kwemeka has probably already had some charges in her name, or she doesn't know you're out there giving her name. Is she aware that you're using her name?
No, she's not aware because I always give it the wrong way. It doesn't make it right. You're so right. Well, I'm in a drug program. I don't know if they're going to continue it, but I am in a program. So I don't know how probation is going about that, but I am seeking help from the outside.
Who are you seeking help from?
Do the Daily Report Center. This is my first violation with them.
Okay. How many children do you have?
I only have one.
Where's your child?
He's with my mom, thank God.
Yeah, thank God he's with your mom for his sake and your mom's sake, but you going there, the answer you gave me immediately, I knew was a lie. Because Ms. Tillery, you going to take care of an older person is just going to be, that's just going to be a disaster, number one. Number two, how old is your child?
He just turned 16. She's giving me a chance to come back home to try to help me out, like, to try to help.
So she's helping you, because I want you to be clear, because people tell me anything. They think I'm stupid.
No.
So when you tell me stuff, immediately I saw that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is when y'all start lying to me, a lot of times y'all are lying to me because you're so used to lying to yourselves. And I don't want you to lie to yourself. That's the person, the one person, even if you lie to me, the one person you should be truthful with is yourself. Now, I'm gonna just tell you right now, your son is probably doing as well as can be expected with an absent mom. Right, because you're not there. Because it would be one of two things. Either you get yourself straight and then y'all have to go through the process of reuniting, and he has to go through the process of forgiving you for not being there in his life and being a factor in his success. Or you stay away until he's an adult and then y'all go through that process. But when you move in with your mama, if you bring your foolishness, that's gonna upset your mama and that's gonna upset him.
Well, thank God, but I've been in his life this whole time, thank God. And I slowed down on drugs and I stopped doing drugs with just being around certain people and just want to do drugs again. That's all that was about. But I've been in my son's life the whole time. I just shipped him to my mom like a year ago now, going on a year. But this school year, this is first school year with her. But I'm just taking it a step at a time, ma'am. So I don't think my mom is giving me another chance to come back home and try to regroup myself and get myself together because I haven't been doing well, even though I've been in and out, you know, messing up. But drug wise, like everything's been going a little great for my son and things going good for him, and I don't want to interrupt that. So I get what you're saying 100%.
I mean, you know, everybody convinces themselves that no matter where their children are, they're doing fine. Oh, they're doing great. You know, he was with me when I was drugging and messing up, but you know, he's doing great. But now he's with my mama, but he's doing great.
Thank God for elite schools.
I get that. But what I'm saying to you is you don't ever get what gets internalized when a parent is absent or when a parent has problems that a kid, you know, kids expect their parents to be the ones who are stable, providing, not messing up. Like I'm coming to you for advice, guidance, whatever I need. Not to, I got to understand that my mama going through something right now. So what I'm saying to you is at some point, there's going to be a reckoning.
Yes.
It's going to be a point where you're going to have to listen to him tell you what he experienced from his point of view for your addiction. Because he's not been unscathed by this.
I think that's why he wanted to go to Air Force, get away. Yeah. It makes
He's
sense.
not been unscathed. As well as he's doing that in spite of what you've done.
Yes, ma'am.
So what I'm saying to you is don't go to your mama's house, even if she's giving you an opportunity to get it together. Don't go messing up his apple cart because he is stable now. He's doing well. He's got friends. He's got somebody who can answer, who can take care of his needs. But there's going to come a reckoning. And you need to have yourself back on track. So when he comes at you with that, because it's coming, and says, you know, I remember those days when this happened. I remember those days when you weren't there. I remember those days when I had to not do something with my friends because I didn't want them to see you or to know what was going on. So when I say don't lie to yourself, understand I'm preparing you for if you're going to ever have that relationship with your son where he can be totally honest about what he experienced. You can lie to me, but you can't lie to yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you're going to go to your mom's, then your number one priority has to be separating yourself from people who do drugs, going to your AA and NA meetings, doing those things. Because if you don't prioritize that, he's going to get the impression that you don't care enough about him to do the hard work to be in his life.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Kids are so perceptive, especially by the time they're 16. So perceptive. And if you don't do the hard work, he's going to think that you don't care enough about him, that you prefer drugs over him. And that's the last thing you want. And stop using your siblings' names, ma'am. This is part of taking accountability. Every program that deals with addiction talks about accountability, don't they?
Yes, ma'am.
And about taking responsibility for the things that you've done or are doing. So if you can't take accountability for what is, you know, is happening, don't put somebody else under the bus. Imagine if that officer had accepted that and let you go with the ticket or whatever, and your sister gets stopped sometime further down the road, and the officer tells her, hey, you know, we got some outstanding warrants in your name. And she tells him, no, that's impossible. I don't know what you're talking about. And she gets into it with the police. Who do you think wins that?
No,
Who do you think ends up face down on the concrete or worse?
my sister, yes.
Okay, because you've given her name. You know, and then families will, they'll be the first ones on the courthouse steps talking about how bad the police are, but they don't ever talk about how they put their own loved one into this situation.
Yes, ma'am.
You got me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I do.
So I think beyond, I'm just going to give somebody my name because I might have a warrant. I think to the ultimate consequence of when your sister, who's minding her own business, if she gets pulled over for so much as a traffic, or as a back light out, and then she has to tell a police officer that no, I don't have any warrants, and they're telling her, yes, you do. We got a whole list of them in our computer. She doesn't win that encounter. She doesn't win in that situation. So think about that. All right. So at this point, I'm going to, Mr. Lynch, you had an alternative, I guess, sentencing that you wanted to propose?
Yeah, I just proposed that it be basically the time she's already served. I believe 20 days would cover that. Your Honor, if you know, 30 days, she'll be in custody, I believe until December, but we would just ask that the sentence be 12 months served, 20 days, balance suspended, to run concurrent on each count.
All right, I'll do that because she ain't gonna get out and pay no fine. That's not gonna happen. She doesn't have the money and the wherewithal, and it would just be setting her up to come right back here. I would rather see her go, if she can, get back into a rehab program.
Thank you, Judge.
Miss Tillery, remember that you're doing this for yourself, but you're doing it just as much for your son. And on those days when you think you should hang out with those people, remember, do you prefer those people over your son?
No way.
Okay, so when they call you and say, hey, let's hang out, your son's face should pop in your head and you should say no, because you know, I got my son over here.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay. 12 months, 20 days, balance suspended as long as you do not go back. Wait, no. Yeah. Yeah, 12 months, 20 days, balance suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. That'll be concurrent for counts 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Tillery, remember what I said. I hope I'm not wasting my breath because that 16-year-old deserves it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, who's next?
Mr. Miller.
He's in the booth. So.
All right. So my understanding is who we have left. We have Jackson, Miller, Pack, and Kathy.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Is Miller negotiated or non-negotiated?
Well, I've spoken to Mr. Miller. We're going to see when he comes out, but I believe it's non-negotiated.
Okay.
I can't take the picture. Okay, so Mr. Miller, can you see that? Can you see the screen up here?
Yeah.
What? Is that the same as this?
It is. Sometimes this one goes out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Hi, Mr. Miller.
I'm all right.
Mr. Miller, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
I've already have and will continue.
I'm sorry?
I said I already have and I will continue.
Okay, sir. I'm sorry, I just didn't hear you. So Mr. Miller, you're before the court on 2024 CR 08383 for criminal trespass. You're represented by Mr. Taz Taylor, and he's with you at the podium. Mr. Taylor, what is Mr. Miller pleading to the offense before the court?
Nothing.
Your Honor, it's a no-low plea, non-negotiated.
All right, so Mr. Miller, your attorney indicates that you're going to enter a plea of no contest, meaning you're not contesting the charges, but you are not pleading guilty.
I've already done that. Don't you have that paperwork in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Then why you asking me that question?
I just have to verify it on the record, sir. Once I see the paperwork, I got you. I just have to make sure that we have it, the same information on the record, and I confirm it with you, okay? All right. So, by entering a plea of no contest, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to give evidence and testimony, to not incriminate yourself or give evidence and testimony against yourself. And Mr. Miller, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Taylor, anything before Ms. Hagler gives the factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor, we'll stipulate to the factual basis. Mr. Miller has been in custody for 25 days now on the criminal trespass. The location was a Chevron gas station.
Okay.
Good candidate for probation or community service. Obviously, he's in a wheelchair, would be very difficult to perform any community service or pay the fine that the state's asking. So we're asking for a balance suspended with time served.
And you said 20 days?
25 days since I believe it was
All right. All right, Ms. Hagler.
Yes, Your Honor. Regarding, I'm sorry, were you saying something, Mr. Taylor? Oh, okay. Yes, Your Honor, regarding the factual basis, on or about October the 4th of 2024.
Ms. Hagler, he's gonna stipulate, that's fine. At a Chevron. And so what's the recommendation from the state?
Okay, well, I was going to read the factual basis because the state is not accepting a NOLO on this case, given that the defendant was told to leave the property. He did leave the property and then came back that same day later to the property. So that's why the defense, we're not agreeing to a NOLO on this case.
Okay.
But the other state's original offer was 12 months probation, a fine of $300, 40 hours of community service, and the defendant is to not return back and to stay away from the incident location.
Okay. All right, Mr. Taylor, tell me a little bit more about Mr. Miller's living conditions or what's going on with his life.
Your Honor, I'm trying to find that out because I've asked. He says he does have a place to live, but I don't know his caretaker situation.
Okay.
Where's your house?
Did you hear that?
No. Can you tell me? Do you have?
Yes, 2617 Bex Road, Ellenwood, Georgia.
Okay, so.
You have that, your paperwork.
All right.
Okay, it's okay. So just tell me, just talk to us, okay?
It's okay, Mr. Miller. Sometimes we don't have all the information in front of us. All right. All right. So, Mr. Miller, I'm going to accept your plea of NOLO. I'll send you to credit 25 days, credit for time served, balance suspended, as long as you do not go back to that Chevron, okay?
Can't go back to the gas station.
We're past that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Back.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I just want to let you know, because if you go back, you know they're going to give you trouble, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want that, okay?
We already passed all that.
All right.
Nobody at the knocking at the door. Is that her? Tell her to come in here, please.
Oh, okay. Well, she's probably waiting for you in the hallway.
Well, let's clear this up.
We did, sir. We're gonna go ahead and accept your plea and we'll get you out of here today, okay? So if she's waiting for you, then she can pick you up, all right?
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir.
Now what do I have to do? Oh, take these cuffs off of me.
Hold on, Mr. Miller.
He's
Mr.
not
Miller,
gonna get up and run.
I got you, Mr. Miller. Calm
Stop
down.
moving your chair.
It's okay.
Hell no, I'm in pain. Ain't nothing okay back there. I can't help him out.
He didn't say a specific date, but I'm pretty sure you need to get in touch with him as soon as you get out.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Taylor and Mr. Lynch.
Yes, Your Honor. Once the deputies found a location for Mr. Miller, we'll bring out, I believe Mr. Pack is next.
That's fine.
Thank you. Mr. Pack, it is. Okay. What did they say? So we're going to go. They want to do 12 months probation. We're going to do 3 months, 4 months, 2 months. Do I go home today? I definitely go home today. Okay. They're gonna release me onto the streets. Do you have somebody to pick you up? I can catch the bus. Okay, excellent. Here's the thing. Before you leave the jail, they can give you a bus pass. Okay. 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 We're ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Is this non-negotiated or negotiated?
It's not negotiated.
Okay.
All right.
Because you can't go back to the airport, okay? I understand. Okay.
Mr. Pat,
Yes, Your Honor.
raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pat, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Kenneth Pack, 2024 CR 08385. You can put your hand down, sir. You're before the court with your attorney, Mr. Taz Taylor. Mr. Taylor, what is your client plea to the charge before the court of criminal trespass?
Your Honor, Mr. Pack pleads no contest, nolo contendere to the single charge of criminal trespass.
All right, Mr. Pack, by entering the plea of nolo, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of nolo or guilty could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about September 26th of 2024, Officer Nathaniel Parker observed the defendant walking through the atrium located at 6234 Spine Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30337, Clayton County, also known as the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Officer Parker attempted to engage the defendant fully, knowing that he was issued a criminal trespass warning. The defendant, then shoved his fingers in his ears and fled the area, going towards the exit at later during that day. Officer Parker observed the defendant again in the atrium area eating. Officer Parker again engaged the defendant and detained him. He was then escorted to the precinct, and it was confirmed the defendant was in violation of a criminal trespass warning that was issued to him on February the 2nd of 2024 under case number 240338029. Your Honor, at this time, the state is asking that you do not accept the NOLA plea. Again, the defendant was given a prior warning in February under a case number. The state's offer at this time is 12 months probation, a fine of $300, 40 hours community service, and the defendant is to stay away from the incident location unless he's there for official business.
All right, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Pack has been in custody for 34 days. We're asking for 12 months to serve the 34 days with balance suspended. He lives in Fulton County. He does have a friend to stay with there, but I don't think he's going to be a good probation candidate due to the fact that he doesn't have transportation beyond, possibly ending up back at the airport on a MARTA train. And since he's been in custody, he's had no financial resources. The ability to pay the fine and or probation fees would likely just bring him back to our court again.
Is he, does he have any support or any, because Mr. Pack's been before us, before?
He has, Your Honor. I don't know about financial support. He does have a friend in Fulton County where he's going to return that he can live with. So he's not going to be on the street, but his financial resources are going to be pretty limited, right?
Yeah, I can barely afford groceries. Barely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's also that the airport has changed their rules and gotten more strict with people that don't have direct business on the day that they're found there.
Yeah, Mr. Pack, there's nothing for you at the airport. I know it seems like, there's a lot that could help you at the airport, but there's not, because they're going to shut it down to where you won't even be able to get in the airport. They'll arrest you as soon as they see you.
Okay, I understand. I was just impressed by the Starbucks.
I know, I got you, but they got Starbucks everywhere else. And so you don't have to go to the airport to get one, okay?
Okay.
All right, because you don't want to, they're going to get you. You will never make it to the Starbucks because of the way they're doing now. They're arresting people.
Starbucks is next to Burger King's.
I got you, but they'll arrest you. So you don't want to go back to the airport, okay?
On Avenue's a Starbucks.
Okay, Ponce Leon Avenue. All right, I'll stay away from the airport. I was just impressed by their Starbucks.
I got you. So, Mr. Pack, I'm going to accept your plea of NOLO. I'll send you to credit for time served, 12 months credit for time served. Balance will be suspended as long as you do not go back to Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport. You understand?
So that's credit. So what did you give me credit for time served for?
Yes, sir.
You get credit for, and you'll be processed out, and your case will be closed.
So what do I have to do when I get out? Just stay away from the airport?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I get out today?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll find me a new Starbucks.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
So it's no probation?
No probation.
No fine.
Go back to the airport. Okay. And you'll be in good shape if you go back to the airport.
And I get out today?
Yes. Thank you.
Excuse me, Judge. How many
Yes.
days credit are we giving him?
How many days? 30 days, I think it was. Yeah, 30 days credit for time served. I think Mr. Pack might have he might be neurodivergent. So I know he understands what's going on, but I don't know that he has the wherewithal, with the level of understanding that he has to be successful under probation. Do you agree, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor. He understands the circumstance he's in, but for day to day, being able to make a plan to be somewhere and do something is going to be difficult.
Yeah, I kind of got that. All right. So who do we have here? Mr. Jackson?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor. This is.
All right. So Mr. Jackson, raise your right hand for me. Yes.
Just kind of do that if you.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
You're going to tell the truth.
Are you going to tell the truth?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down, sir. So, Mr. Jackson, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Mr. Demetrius Rashad Jackson, 2024 CR 08363 for criminal trespass. Mr. Jackson, by entering a plea of nolo, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty, no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
All right. Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about September the 14th of 2024, Officer Kendall Skeet responded to the Circle K located at 2058 Mount Zion Road, Morrow, Clayton County, Georgia, in reference to a disturbance. Upon his arrival, he met with the victim, Mr. Jonathan Williams, who stated that the defendant had come into the store and began to argue with him. He then asked the defendant to leave, but the defendant refused to leave. He stated that the defendant had been pacing in front of the store and would not leave. Officer Skeet made contact with the defendant, who stated that he needed to go to the hospital but did not have a medical emergency. Clayton County EMS arrived on the scene and assessed the defendant and determined that he did not need to be transported to the hospital. At that time, Mr. Jonathan Williams, as a representative of the store, issued a criminal trespass warning to the defendant, saying that he was not allowed back on the property anymore. Officer Skeet then asked the defendant to leave the premises, and he stated that he wasn't going anywhere. At that time, the defendant was then arrested for criminal trespass. Given that the defendant was given a previous warning, the state does ask the court to not accept the nolo plea. The state's recommendation at this time is 12 months probation, a fine of $300, 40 hours of community service, and the defendant is to not return back to the Circle K located at 2058 Mount Zion Road, Morrow, Georgia.
All right. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor. As I believe I said earlier, we're entering a nolo plea, or per the court's permission. And Mr. Jackson has been in custody for 25 days at this point. He does not have transportation. His initial question to me is, how is he going to do any probation reporting and getting to anything? I would just ask that his balance be suspended upon the 25 days and not return back to that Circle K drugstore. Excuse me, that Circle K gas station convenience store.
All right.
I believe he asked me to contact his mother to pick him up.
How old is Mr. Jackson?
I don't know. Let's see where I stay at.
How old are you?
I forgot my age.
Do you remember your birthday?
So
What year? 96, Your Honor. So that would be 28 years old.
Okay, and has he always lived with his mom?
Have you always lived with your mom?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
You gonna call her right now?
After the judge finishes, I'll get her number and I'll call her, okay? That'll work for you. Can she pick you up, or do you need a bus pass?
I need a bus pass.
Okay.
Can you talk to her? Can I hear you talk to her? Can I talk to her too?
No, because
I don't think the jail will let that happen, Mr. Jackson, but Mr. Taylor's gonna call her, okay? If you give him her number, he'll call her, all right?
I don't need a number. I don't need it. But it got
I'll work on that, Your Honor.
Okay.
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 I didn't talk
So
to her verbatim.
Just listen to the judge.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Jackson. We're gonna finish up and then I'm gonna let you talk to Mr. Taylor about all that, okay? So Mr. Taylor, maybe some cognitive issues, but not enough to be to rise to the level of not being competent.
That's correct, Your Honor. He understands why he's here and our roles here.
Mhm.
You're the judge, and I'm helping him to help him get out of jail, basically. He understands that.
Okay.
And he knows that it's not to go back to the Circle K. We kind of gone back and forth on that. He doesn't really understand why he was arrested for being at the Circle K, but I'm going to make sure he understands.
All right. Okay. All right. All right. So anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. How long has he been in?
He has been in since, he's been in 25 days. His intake was on October 5th, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Jackson, I'm going to sentence you to 12 months to serve 25 days, credit for time served. Balance will be suspended as long as you do not go back to the Circle K at 2058 Mount Zion Road in Morrow, Georgia, Clayton County, okay?
I had a 25 day.
Yeah, so no, you're going home today, but you cannot go back to that Circle K. Don't go back to the Circle K, okay? Can we agree?
Yes.
All right, so no Circle K.
All right.
All right, thank you, sir. And don't give your mama a hard time either.
All right, thank you.
All right, you do what your mama said. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
I'm becoming aware more and more that we have a lot of adults who are either neurodivergent or have cognitive issues that they may be able to understand the processes and what we're doing here, but with respect to being able to help themselves, particularly with things like paying fines and fees or being stable enough to have transportation or know how to navigate transportation versus wandering or heading to one particular place that they know and know how to get to. And so in an effort to, I guess, be sensitive to the fact that I don't want to burden probation with a lot of people who are not going to be good probation candidates. I don't want to burden the courts with cases where we have people coming back on probation violation when I know when I put them on the sentence that they're not going to be good candidates. And then just trying to be sensitive to the fact that if there's anybody else out there who will assist some of these individuals, particularly those who have neurodivergence or cognitive issues or mental health issues, if there's someone who's helping them to navigate life, I don't want to make it more expensive or more difficult for them to operate and to assist these individuals. So that's a lot of the times the sentencing decision that I make, Mrs. Hagler. So I don't want you to think that I'm not mindful of the concerns that you have with respect to representing the state and what has happened in some of these cases with a lot of these people. But I want to make sure that we're not adding a burden to them being able to navigate life or burdening the system, because I know they'll be back in some form or other.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right, are we ready with Mr. Caffey?
Yes, Your Honor. And Mr. Caffey's doing well today.
All right, good afternoon, sir. Mr. Caffey, you're before the court for a probation violation, and we have a new case for you. So you're before the court on 2023 CR 06470 for a probation violation. And I don't have his new case. If somebody could provide that information to me, then we can move forward with those two things.
I don't have.
Yes, Your Honor, the case number that I have for the public indecency is 2024 CR 07647.
Okay, that's just one count.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Mr. Kathy, raise your right hand for me. Okay, yeah, you don't have to raise it up real high. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth to the court?
You have to say it out loud. A little bit
All
louder.
right.
Thank
you, sir. So, Mr. Kathy, you're before the court on state of Georgia. Sorry. 1 second. State of Georgia versus Thomas Henry Caffey III, 2023 CR 06470. You were before this court on the 27th day of August 2024 for shoplifting. You have 10 months and 18 days remaining on your probation. You got the new criminal offense of public indecency / indecent exposure on or about September 5th of 2024, and that's case number 2024 CR 07647. Mr. Taylor, what does your client wish to do with respect to the probation revocation?
Your Honor, we will stipulate to the arrest or the violation of VOP.
Okay.
To accept probation's recommendation on the matter. On the new case, we would like to enter a no-lo plea and stipulate to the factual basis and just have the court make a recommended sentence in the matter. I can say that Mr. Caffey has been in custody since the date of that arrest, which
is 9/5/2024.
That was the shoplifting arrest. The public indecency arrest, I believe, was around October 8th, possibly a little bit earlier than that. That's when, but I don't have his actual.
No, I have 9/5 for the public indecency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he has been in custody since that time, and which is a significant amount of time.
All right. So, Ms. Chang, what is your recommendation for Mr. Caffey on the revocation?
Your Honor, probation recommends that he receive credit for time served since September the 6th, which is a month and 23 days, and close the case.
Okay.
On the new case, we'll close it out. On the new case, we're about to find out.
All right, so I have defendant shall receive credit for time served and case shall be closed. Defendant served 1 month and 23 days in the Clayton County Jail. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, and with respect to the case 2024 CR 07647, public indecency, what does your client plead to the offense before the court?
Your Honor, my client pleads no lo to that matter.
All right. By entering a plea of no lo, Mr. Caffey, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove the case against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to present testimony and evidence on your behalf. to not incriminate yourself, and you give up the right to be innocent until proven guilty. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Yes.
All right, factual basis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about September the 5th of 2024, officers were dispatched to 5635 Highway 42, Ellenwood, Clayton County, Georgia, also known as the AMCO gas station. Upon arrival, officers spoke with Mom, M-O-M, last name Ray, R-A-I, who is the store manager, and made the call. Mr. Ray stated that the defendant had been at the gas station all morning, bothering customers and throwing garbage everywhere, and he wanted officers to ask the defendant to leave the premises. Officers advised that Mr. Ray that he would need to advise the defendant that he did not wish to have him on the property anymore and to no longer return to the gas station at that time. Mr. Ray verbally told the defendant that he was trespassing and he didn't want him back at the store. Officers observed the defendant use vulgar language. He also asked one of the female supervisors that was on scene if she wanted to see his penis. The supervisor replied, no, she did not. The defendant at that time proceeded to pull his shorts down, exposing his penis to not only the female supervisor, but also to the other officers on the scene, Officer Anthony Watson, as well as Officer Aaron Edwards. Officer at that time did place the defendant under arrest for public indecency. Your Honor, at this time, the state is requesting that you do not accept a NOLO plea for this offense, and the state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 90 days, balance suspended, and the defendant is to not return to 5635 Highway 42, Ellenwood, Georgia, also known as the AMCO gas station.
Okay. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor. We just would stipulate to the factual basis. And we just ask that the sentence be in consideration of Mr. Caffey's physical and mental conditions, and ask that a time served since his intake into custody with balance suspended sentence be issued.
Let me ask a couple questions, Mr. Taylor. Does Mr. Caffey have any assistance in life?
He does, Your Honor. In fact, as soon as I finish with court, I've got a telephone number for Robert Lee, his caretaker, who I'll be contacting to let Mr. Lee know that Mr. Caffey will be released on whatever date is determined by the court. And Mr. Caffey does recognize Mr. Robert Lee's name and does understand that Mr. Lee is a person that assists him.
All right. Mr. Caffey, listen carefully. You hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody wants to see your penis.
No.
Okay? Nobody. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Unless somebody asks you to see it, nobody wants to see it. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So don't go around showing your private business to people. You promise?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, because it's just that simple. Don't nobody want to see your penis, sir. Mr. Caffey, it's been in since 9/5. On case 2024CR07647, I'll give you credit since the date of lockup, credit for time served for public indecency, but you do not go back to the Amico in Ellenwood, Clayton County, Georgia. Do not go back to the gas station. You understand me? Do you understand? What did I say?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't go back to the what?
Amico and
exactly. And what else? Don't show what?
My private.
Thank you, sir. You understand me very clearly.
I'm a
All
member,
right.
so
You can go back with the sheriff's office. You heard me.
And I'm gonna call Mr. Lee and let him know.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Your
right.
Honor, is that a guilty or nolo?
We'll do a guilty for Mr. Cappy.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Taylor, anything
Your
else at this point?
I think we have hit the calendar, Your Honor.
I think that's it. Everybody, we have a motions calendar this afternoon at 1. Let me go ahead and kind of go over that so we can see if there's been any announcements at this point. Then we can go ahead and make sure that we're only available, ready to deal with the ones that are still on the calendar. My understanding is we have 3 cases on that calendar. The first is Treston Jameer Johnson. That's Susan Miller's case. It's an emergency motion to revoke bond. Has anybody heard anything from Susan Miller? Because she'll pull a conflict in a minute.
Well, she does have a conflict from 10/18 to 10/30, but I believe all of her cases were moved to January, though. And at that time, you said no more conflicts.
Including the motion to revoke bond?
Well, she does have a leave of absence that was approved until October 30th. That's tomorrow. Well, yeah, tomorrow.
Your Honor,
yes.
I believe she's out of the country.
Right, I think until tomorrow, I think.
She had a birthday yesterday, so.
Well, bless her heart and the wonders of Facebook. Okay, so, all right. Then the motion to revoke bond is going to come off because that's she's conflict and she's not even here. Sierra Sean,
I think January though. I believe that might be.
Yeah, we'll move
January.
Well, yeah, we can move that to January unless she resolves that case, which I think is a subsequent case issue. Sierra Shantae Telfair.
Your Honor, Ms. Telfair is currently an active inmate. We had a BOP hearing 2 weeks ago, in which case she was kept into custody to serve out her BOP. I don't have any additional information in front of us.
Yeah, it's on a motion to revoke bond. Is the state ready on the motion to revoke bond at 1 o'clock?
Yes, the state is ready. The officer is ready.
Okay, and then on the last case is Juan Antonio Vega. And Mr. Leal was here and said that he didn't have any contact with Mr. Vega. If I'm wrong, remind me, but I remember him being in the box telling us that he didn't have any contact with Mr. Vega.
He did say that. So I'm not sure if he still hasn't had contact or not. I can try to reach out to him during our few minutes of a break. But I
spoke to Mr. Leal. He informed me that he would try and get in touch with me once he had contact with his client, because that client is a cross defendant with my client, Ms. Delgado. And I think it's Delgado. I may be incorrect.
Yeah, I think it was Delgado.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that he's had contact, because I think he said he would tell the court, if he were to have contact, he would contact us to try and get him back on a calendar.
And I haven't heard. Mr. Vega has an additional charge unrelated to my client, so he may be.
I got you. All right, so we'll be back at 1 in a few minutes. We'll go ahead and do the hearing for Ms. Telfair. And then that should conclude the 1 o'clock calendar also.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank y'all. And I'm Miss Wright. I've been signing as we go, so hopefully I have everything. I have done everything.
Did you sign the probation petitions for
I don't. I'm looking for those. Okay, I see it now. They were further down on the calendar. So I'll go ahead and keep signing during the little bit of a break that we have, and then at 1 o'clock I'll come back on, but I'll still keep signing.
Okay, because I'm still working on the cafe one. I should have it to you momentarily.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, we'll be back in a moment.
Judge.
Yes.